If you go through the various meetings, Keir Starmer's meeting in the Oval Office went pretty well, Macron's meeting went pretty well, Carney's meeting went pretty well, but the two that probably will be remembered in history are Zelensky and Ramaphosa. This is the thing about Trump, is that he literally is breaking all the rules, and he does it deliberately, and he does it. I'm not sure that he even knows that he's doing it sometimes. I thought Ramaphosa handled it well. He sat quietly, calmly.
Got it back onto golf.
He didn't rise totally to the bait, and I think as it was happening, part of him would be thinking to himself, my people in South Africa are going to be horrified at this, and I will only play into that badly if I overreact. So I think actually he handled it quite well. The worst thing attached to it, though, is that what Trump was doing had nothing to do with South Africa. He was absolutely playing to this sort of white supremacist base of his and using Ramaphosa's presence to do that. It was utterly disgusting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching my videos from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy and humbled to have you as my fan. I appreciate that. Now, today, I'm going to talk about white people reacting on what Trump did to South African President Ramaphosa. Now, let me get this straight. I haven't talked about this story because I felt bad about what happened, how Trump bullied Ramaphosa. But again, on the other hand, I was happy because I wanted other African presidents to see what they take us for. I wanted other leaders from Africa to see that as an example. I don't know if they have learned something of that. I don't really know. But for me, if I was a leader from Africa, I could have learned something from this bullying from American President Donald Trump. Now, I call it bullying because it was indeed a sad moment. I know Trump, people say Trump always say the truth, but again, say the truth, yes. But what Africans or what South Africans were asking is about the land, land appropriation, taking back the land, but with or without compensation because the land was taken from. So we were the first owner as South Africans. Now, before I go down deep in this video, I want you to watch these clips of white people talking about what is happening in South Africa. Let's watch this one and then we'll come back here and react on it.
Look, I know that we're not all good at research, okay? I get it. I'm a research professor. It's literally in my job title, and I see examples of poor research everywhere. But this takes the cake. Does his staffer know that doing your research means more than just typing dead people Africa into ChatGPT? Because I'm pretty sure that's what they did. All right, to catch you up, our admin wants to import white South Africans, right? And instead of going through that cumbersome immigration process and then being scared of ICE like brown people have to be, right? Afrikaners got fast-tracked as refugees. How? Well, because our administration and other right-wing groups have spread the lie that there is a white genocide happening in South Africa. So when South Africa's President Ramaphosa came to visit ours, these are the images that he gets shown, right? Like, this is what our president used as evidence, right, of the so-called white genocide, except for reporters found that it's not evidence at all, right? Because it's not from South Africa, it's from the Congo. So Congo and South Africa are different countries. They don't even share a border. These photos are from violence that happened in a Congo city called Goma. So just for fun, I wanted to see how far away Goma was from the closest point in South Africa, right? 3,367 kilometers, which is roughly the same distance as from New York City to Salt Lake City, right? About 2,173 miles, give or take a few dozen miles. And the kicker is that those bodies in those body bags in that photo that the president is holding, most likely not even white people. Right? Very few white people have been caught up in the political conflicts that spilled over from Rwanda as perpetrators of that genocide, which was another one that affected black people mostly, right? Fled persecution by sneaking across the border. And the thing is, there was no need to use any of this, right? Because there are indeed some white South African farmers who have been killed, right? Our president could have used those if he really wanted to cherry pick data to mislead people, right? Here's a reminder, the vast majority of the victims of murder in South Africa are indeed Black people, right? Black people suffer a disproportionate number of racially motivated attacks in South Africa. White people are still the safest and most protected group of people in South Africa, right? But you know, yeah, couldn't even do that. Couldn't even do that.
Why don't we bring up the problems that are occurring in our country that seem to have a lot of similarities to that of what happened to the white farmers? Shit, we could talk about sundown towns all fucking day. But yet that shit doesn't seem to ever be addressed. I wonder why. Then the fact that it's been reported that those murders that have occurred in South Africa, right, account for less than 1% of 27,000 annual murders nationwide. How does that equate to a genocide? At least 3,131 Palestinians have been killed and over 8,600 have been injured since the end of the 2-month ceasefire, which a special little group just so happened to violate, since March. And of course, that's not the first time. I wonder why. See, if people knew a little more about people like Jonathan Pollard, right, their eyes would really be open. Shit, if you want, go look into the Pegasus spyware for me real quick. All it takes is just a little bit of digging. But yet, here you are, allowing somebody else that you look up to and you idolize to form an opinion for you. You don't search for answers outside of that little box of comfortability that you can find yourself within inside of this infrastructural society that, let's be honest, doesn't really do anything for us to begin with. And of course, you'll have your average person that's like, oh, well, if you don't like it here, why don't you just move out of the country then? Dude, that is funny as fuck. I love when people say.
The president of South Africa tried to tell Trump that they wasn't taking the lives of the farmers over there, that wasn't true. So what did Trump do? He just rolled out of TV and said, look at this right here. People talking about it, taking the lives of the farmers over there and showing all the crosses. And the president of South Africa couldn't say anything, but just sit there, kind of with a smirk on his face. But that's what I call a president. Trump don't play around. He'll call you out right then and there, right in front of you.
I used to think Donald Trump was just pure evil. But after listening to him talk about South Africa and the conspiracy theories that he believes about what's going on there, even when people who are from there are telling him that it's not true, and he brings out unreliable source after unreliable source, he is a Facebook dad. Our president is not smart enough to discern conspiracy theories and fact. He is no better than my grandpa or my dad sharing videos on Facebook. I truly think our president is just an idiot now. I mean, maybe he's rooted in evil too, but the guy is a Facebook dad sharing videos about Bigfoot.
Can we stop letting Donald Trump meet with world leaders? Please, how do we make this happen? President Trump confronted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and accused his government of mass killings and land seizures targeting white people. And the reality is South Africa does have one of the world's highest crime rates, and the vast majority of victims are black South Africans, not white South Africans. Despite online chatter, there's no evidence of a white genocide or state-sanctioned land grabs. This moment actually reminds us of the time he met with Zelensky and ambushed him in front of the entire world as well. And then, said out loud, well, I guess America is willing to take a bribe if you're going to send us a jet like our friends in the Middle East did.
Sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
He's saying this on a national stage, people. This is embarrassing. It's corruption. It's everything that's wrong in the world. As he's telling a world leader what's happening in his country, and none of it's true, as he decides to take in the white refugees. Those are the good ones, according to Trump land. And everyone else, get out. But yes, more embarrassing moments with Trump and world leaders on a national stage. It's embarrassing, spreading lies, quietly saying he would take bribes on a national stage. Just a bad look for America. Can we please stop Donald from meeting with world leaders? Please.
President of the United States is an embarrassment and a liar, and the latest example of embarrassment and lying came in front of not just the president of South Africa, but in front of the entire world. Seemingly some research was done here that's really at the level of like a 6th grader who's cramming to write a paper that they forgot about for the past month. It was showing the president of South Africa a series of news clippings that were allegedly supposed to support his false claim that there is a genocide of white farmers. Except this clipping right here was a general article from a tiny news source that has absolutely nothing to do with South Africa. This is talking about general tribalism in Africa, and this right here is from an attack that took place in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. You might remember when that happened. It was absolutely awful. It was back in February when over 100 female prisoners were raped and then burned alive. Donald Trump is doing here is using a clipping talking about black women being killed in a different country to back up his claim of a white genocide in South Africa. That is how fucking unhinged the United States is right now. Donald also showed old footage of an anti-apartheid song being sung at a rally for a small party that won 9.5% of the vote in last year's election. Now, Donald also showed this, which is gone. He said this is still here, it's not there. He said every single one of these crosses was for a white farmer that was killed. This entire thing was a memorial for one couple that was killed in 2020. God rest their souls, but this was not representative of thousands of white farmers. This was about one couple. To get at Trump's claims of white genocide, we could just look at the actual data. There were 26,232 murders last year in South Africa, one of the most dangerous countries in the world. 44 of those killings were in the farming community, and 8 of those people were farmers. Let's say for argument's sake, every one of those farmers was white. That would mean 0.03% of the murders in South Africa last year were white farmers. Is that a genocide? Man is a lying fuck and an embarrassment to the country, and he is setting us back on the world stage every day.
I discovered this post on X by Michael Tracy. He pointed to a YouTube screen grab where Trump or someone in his administration pulled the pages he showed at the Oval Office meeting with President Ramaphosa. So I dug into it. Spoiler alert, they were taken from a video of incidents that occurred in February in Goma, the Congo, not South Africa. I have posted the links to the article in the American Thinker and the full video in the description below. As I always tell my students, check your sources.
Donald Trump seems to be on a mission to have ever-increasingly embarrassing meetings in the Oval Office. Most recently, he hosted the president of South Africa, who he looked in the face and told, "Your country has a white genocide." And the president was like, "Well, respectfully, no, that's not happening." And Donald Trump's like, "Yes, it is." And then he pulled out evidence, only that evidence has all been debunked. Like, he showed a video of all of these little white crosses along a roadway. And Donald Trump said, These are burial sites right here. And then he said, each one of these white things you see is a cross. There's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. Those people are all killed, Trump added. Yeah, so first of all, apparently people are just buried on top of each other along a roadway, by his logic. No, those are not burial sites, nor do they represent dead farmers, and you don't have to take my word for it. You can take the word of the man who put up those crosses. There were 2 farmers who were killed, and as part of a protest to that, they went along this roadway and put white crosses up that were then removed after the protest. They didn't represent individual people. It was just about these 2 people. Then Donald Trump showed a video where a person in a red beret repeatedly chants, "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer," and speaks about taking land without compensation. That person is Julius Malema, who founded the small but radical party Economic Freedom Fighters after being expelled from the African National Congress, of which the president is a member. And after playing that video, the president explained to Donald Trump that does not represent the policies of this government. South Africa's opposition agriculture minister also said many parties had worked to keep extremists out of government. That guy and his group are extremists. They are not in power. And then Donald Trump pulled out a photo and he's like, "These are dead white people who were killed in the genocide." The picture he's showing is from the Congo, because Africa is a continent that has many countries within it. It wasn't in South Africa that happened. It was in the Congo. And in response, the president of South Africa, who had to sit there and be berated by a man who confidently declared things that were categorically false and used evidence that was inaccurate and not true, his only response he could really say was, "I'm sorry I don't have a plane to give you." Because apparently this administration, if you do something like gift them a plane, they forgive all kinds of terrible things. But today, my feed is full of conservative creators who all made the same video where they look at the camera and have music playing and they nod as text on the screen reads, "Donald Trump confronting the president of South Africa about the white genocide is exactly what I voted for." Is it? You voted for theatrics based on conspiracy theories that are false, using fake information? That's what you voted for? Meanwhile, while you're celebrating this big W, more than 7 million could lose Medicaid in House mega bill approved Thursday. Yeah, they're going to take away Medicaid for a ton of people, not to mention all the food assistance programs that are being shut down that will affect children, will affect veterans, will affect seniors. And you're too busy looking over here as they snap their fingers and go, "White genocide, look what's happening in South Africa, we got to help." And you're like, "Oh, that's terrible," as they literally rob basic shit from you, as they use your tax dollars to import white immigrants and simultaneously use your tax dollars to deport brown immigrants. And I'm all for people who need protection being allowed to come here and seek protection. But meanwhile, he's revoked the protection, the asylum status of thousands of Venezuelans, for example, who face actual real threats, while giving it to people who aren't facing the threats that he's made up.
Welcome back. Now, I was saying about white Americans reacting on South Africa, or white people reacting on the situation that Donald Trump did to South African President Ramaphosa. And I get it, maybe a lot of people are happy because of this, because they are saying Donald Trump is saying the truth, Donald Trump, you know. Some are just supporting the whole situation. Personally, I don't support the treatment to African president. I don't support the treatment that African presidents get from Donald Trump. This is pure bullying, and it is not bullying of a South African president, but it is the bullying of African people at large. For example, let me give you one example. When African leader invites a leader from outside, and we decide to show them the atrocities that they have been doing in Africa. For example, we invite Macron and we start showing him, sit him round on an oval table, record him, and we show what they do or what they are doing to Africans. What will you think? Do you think it's acceptable, or do you think we will be called out? Those who are happy because of this, they are happy of colonization. This is one of a hell. It's part of colonization. It's part of being silenced, because Ramaphosa of South Africa didn't, he was not allowed to say a single word. Trump was all over. And that's why I said it is bullying. And bullying is something like this. Something like this. You are not allowed to air your views. You are being bullied all around. Only a black president in the midst of white people. How do you think it can happen? If we invite U.S. President Donald Trump, we sit him on the Oval Table somewhere in the State House, and we started doing what he has done to some South African president. Of course, if there is an issue that South African president has done, he needs to be called out. That's for sure. And we call out corruption. We call out everything that's going on. But we are not allowed to bully a leader simply because he is doing something right. Land appropriation is what South Africans want, because a lot of black South Africans, they don't own land. They are still poor because their lands is being taken, or they are being taken by some people. So, if there is genocide or killings in South Africa, it's something bad. It needs to be condemned. But if there is not, that means it was pure bullying. And whatever Julius Malema was talking about is nothing near to what Donald Trump was showing. Nelson Mandela was shouting, dancing with his people because he is calling for the freedom from the white supreme. Now, personally, I saw nothing bad. But again, on the other hand, I'm so happy what happened to Ramaphosa because a lot of African leaders who are the puppets to the West will see and know that they are not exceptional. Today, you are the favorite child. Tomorrow, you are no longer to be seen. And that's what is happening each and every day in these countries, Western powers. And for sure, I love very much to see African leaders waking up. I would love to see African leaders having the mind of Thomas Sankara, which is in Ibrahim Traore right now. Because it's only that boldness like from Ibrahim Traore will prevent these leaders from doing bad things to us. They are happy because they have words over us. They have colonized us. There's nothing we can talk in front of them because they are white people. And being a white people, they want to prevent their status. So that's why they don't talk. Ramaphosa did not talk. And privilege, South Africans, white South Africans, have been getting privilege for all along. So I don't know what is the reason why they feel they are so much threatened, and yet they have lived to threat black South Africans for so long. They have lived in richness that it came with a lot of things. It's not about Ramaphosa. It is what is in the country. Donald Trump told Ramaphosa to put Julius Malema into jail. The question is, have we ever called your embassy? Have you ever come to your country and tell you who to detain or not to detain? No. And that shows how we as African people, we as Kenyan, Ugandan, all of us, we are being controlled by a system that when you lose yourself in their system, they get irritated. They are irritated because South Africa is doing the Lord's work, and the Lord's work is to take back South Africa and give to whom it belongs to. You hear me right? Black people have done, or white people have done a lot of atrocities towards black people. But we are living together, we are working together, and we still believe that there is a chance for improvement. Now, I know one thing that I've come to know is that Ramaphosa, he is a sellout. Ramaphosa, he is against the growth of Africa. Because what was he going to do in South Africa? What deal did you have to go to do in South Africa? Is it because there is disease breakout in South Africa? Is it because Trump is trying to take away your strength? Because we as Kenyans from, for example, like Ramaphosa is trying to play cards to get the attention of white America. I don't know, because of the medicine are not coming anymore. But I'm trying to say is, Ramaphosa, you did not have any reason to go in the USA. Up to now, Ibrahim Traore has never set his feet there. And you don't want to follow the order and rules of what? Of Ibrahim Traore, of the people who are supporting Traore. You, as black South Africans, or as Ramaphosa, you have failed your fellow South Africans. You have failed your fellow South Africans because we do not believe in handouts anymore. If you went there to get the handouts, just know we are not receiving the handouts anymore. In one way or the other, Donald Trump did well humiliating you because a lot of African leaders are seeing what's happening. You get me? I have to say this. Ramaphosa, he may be forgery or no forgery, but he isn't fit there. We want leaders who stay firm, who stood firm and say no to the West, and say no to imperialism, and say no to this. We want pan-black Africans or pan-Africanists. We just don't want to have people carrying there. And so I must say this. White people react negatively or positively, but at the end of the day, it is that Ramaphosa is a sellout, and he has sold the trust of South Africans to the hands of the West. And you have seen the humiliation. A lot of African leaders who want to go there, you have seen the humiliation, and that is what is going to happen to you if you try to favor yourself with the white power. And this is for sure. Black people or Africans, when they go to US, they tend to be friends to white people, to be friends to power. They stay low. But right now, they will come up to our houses and they will burn us down. We need to wake up. We need to get up. We need to stay vigilant as Africans. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Until next episode, peace out.